In this video, I'm going to show you how simple it can be to sew together curved pieces. I know it's something a lot of people are really intimidated by, but you shouldn't be. It's super simple and very satisfying to do. Well, so what I'm going to show you today is how to do it without a lot of pins, because I really don't like pinning a lot, and it's sometimes very necessary, but if it's not, if I can get by without it, that's what I like to do. I'm going to do this with 3 pins. You want to be able to pin together, or at least match up, if you don't want to use any pins, match up the parts that you know are going to go together. And in this case, we've got 2 center marks. I don't know if you can see those. They're right here. Those 2 go together, and then the 2 end points. The basic concept of sewing the curved pieces together is the idea is that while the length of the actual seam line, which is a 1/4 inch in from the edge of the fabric, that's going to be the same length on both pieces. The edges are not the same length, because when you've got this part that curves out, that's going to be a little longer than the seam line, and then when this curves in, this is shorter. The edge is shorter than the seam line. So what you're going to need to do is kind of stretch things out to get them to line up. So you're going to be doing a lot of pushing and pulling, which you can do beforehand and then pin it, or you can just do it as you go. So the thing you need to remember when you're sewing is that you want to pay attention to which side is concave and which side is convex, because the concave side is the side that you're going to be kind of stretching more and pushing, because that's the side that's going to be a little bit shorter. So if you remember from way back when, concave means a concave curve is the one that's curved in. And the way you remember that is because it goes in like a cave. So as you can see with this curve, at the start of it, the concave is on the green piece, but then that becomes convex and the concave is on the white piece, and then back to the green at the end. So we're going to start, when we start sewing, we're going to be stretching that green out a little bit, then we're going to stretch the white, and then we'll go back to the green. But what you really want to do is just kind of push and nudge things around so that you don't have any creases. So all we're going to do is line up the points that we know match up together. So I'll just do this with 3 pins, one for the center and then one for the 2 edges. So I'm lining up the edges here where I know they go together. They're parallel at the ends there. And then the last one here. And now this is where, if you wanted to, you could add more pins. And what I would do is I would kind of start in the middle, add a pin there, then kind of stretch this out, and you can already see how with a little bit of pushing and pulling you can get this to line up with the edges. So you could pin all along here if you wanted to, but that's boring and it takes a long time. So now I'm going to show you how we sew it. Okay, so I've got it on my sewing machine. I'm going to sew this with a 1/4 inch seam. I've got my little 1/4 inch foot there. And start off, it's kind of straight, just reinforce a little bit. And then this first part, we've got the concave and the green. So I'm just going to kind of hold the white in place up there and just nudge that green back a little bit. And sew through there. And just keep stopping and adjusting. Make sure it's lined up. And now I'm at a point where you can't see all the way down, but I can kind of match, well, I can line up all of the white all the way to that center pin. So I'm just going to do that. Just sew all the way along there. And I'm just, now that the white is the concave part, I'm nudging that out to match up with the green. And you want to make sure you don't stretch it so much at the beginning that you're going to get any creases there in the by the time you reach that pin. So we don't want any extra fabric. So we're at the center point. Now, I'm just going to do the exact same thing on the other side. The only thing I want to be careful of is, again, not to stretch it too much early on in the curve so that I end up with a bunch of extra fabric at the end and I get a crease there. And now we're at that end where the green is concave again. So I'm just going to kind of reach under there, pull it out to line it up. I can even kind of pull this around so that those ends line up. And there you go. I'll press this and show you how it looks. So there you go, all pressed, nice and smooth, no wrinkles, no creases. There's the back. I hope that helps. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at lizharvatine@gmail.com.